KORG Kronology.
Okay, what are we doing?
Can you guess?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
We're doing the MS-2000.
Get away!
Yes.
That's why there's one sat in front of you, powered up, ready to go.
Yes, we've been donated this one from...
Donated?
Well, on loan.
Lent.
yeah, by Dean Clark. Hashtag DC.
DC?
Yes.
Good man.
So thank you for that.
The coffee stains are coming off, so don't panic.
Yes. So this is the MS-2000, launched in the year 2000.
Yeah.
And any ideas how much it was when it came out?
$11.99.
Ooh.
Am I right?
No.
$1,099.
No.
$9.99.
Less.
Where is it? $8.99.
$7.99.
$6.99.
Get
So
up.
$6.99.
Tell you what.
maybe I could have got my... No, that's actually from
I'm
Sound on
sure,
Sound.
I'm sure there were more than that. But
that's what it said on Sound on Sound.
My shop must have been a rip-off.
Yeah. Yeah. It costs a lot in Bolton.
Blackburn.
Okay, so it's a milestone for KORG because it kind of signalled a bit of a change of direction. So up until then, obviously through the 80s and the 90s, the kind of traditional analog style instruments were fading away because you had instruments like, you know, the Triton and the Trinity and the Z1 and the Prophecy, all digital sounding and also not many hands-on controls. But this signalled a kind of change in direction, as I said, because it went back to a traditional knob per function style interface and also a vintage appearance. So you'll notice that the look of it is very different from those synths I just mentioned. Yeah. So it's going back to more like the look of, say, like the Monopoly and those kind of synths, which, they're very cool looking and less futuristic as well, just more classic. It's had wooden side panels. It's got a full metal chassis. It's also got like nice diagrams on the top. It's got like signal flow diagrams on the left, and then on the right it's got all the parameters. So this is actually the MS-2000B I've got in front of me, and we'll go through the differences in a minute. But the original one was just called the MS-2000.
Beautiful. Yeah,
which is, they describe it as a dark teal blue.
Fair enough.
So, but it was kind of greeny blue sort of colour, and it really continued on the MS legacy, obviously, which was laid by the MS-10, MS-20, MS-50, VC-10, all those kind of analog products. But this one was obviously offering analog modelled sounds as opposed to analog, but still a hands-on approach. And although it's effectively hardwired, it still has a cool kind of virtual patch mode for rerouting signals. So it carried on the ethos of that, like patch bay from those original days. So the trend at this time, sort of turn of the century if you like, was starting to shift towards analog modelling synths with more hands-on control. So there's other brands which went down this route a little bit before this, like the Nord Lead, which was a rack. Yeah. And there was a rack version, sorry. There's the Roland JP8000, which had loads of controllers on it, and the JP8080, which is the rack version of that, and also the Novation Supernova and the Axis Virus, the kind of series of those.
That's a good little series of synths then.
Yeah,
big sounds.
It's when it started to change back, and really where we find ourselves today with the resurgence of analog. That really when it started to change. Also launched this same year with the Alesis Andromeda. I don't know if you remember that one. I do. That was an absolute monster of a synth, that one. Native Instruments launched Absynth, which was obviously a software synthesizer, but it was a great sounding synth. There's the Oberheim OB12. Propellerhead's Reason also launched then. And then Roland had the MC307, which is like a kind of groove box, and they also had the XV 5080 and 3080, which were great modules, kind of following in the footsteps of the 1080 and 2080. And also they had an interesting product called the VP9000. I don't know if you remember that. It was a rack.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you remember
it? Remember that? Yeah.
It was basically, VP stands for Very Phrase.
Very Phrase, that's right, yeah.
And it was, at that time, completely groundbreaking technology because it was called elastic audio. So you could basically load a sample into it, and then you could change the tempo without affecting the pitch and vice versa. And it
was very good, wasn't it? Yeah,
and it sounded great, and you couldn't do it in any other way at this time.
They put some of that technology into a home keyboard, didn't they? But I can't remember what it was.
VA7.
VA7, of course. VA7.
Yeah, and then it found its way into the V-Synth, which was kind of a better use of it. But eventually this kind of technology was quite quickly superseded just by computers, because
yeah.
now everyone takes it for granted that you can do that, but back then it was really
unheard
literally
of,
it was the only way to do it, and it was amazing.
I remember time stretching and doing all that kind of stuff to change pitch and speed and all that kind of that was,
so
good times.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And then there was another interesting product which also came out that year, the Yamaha DJX Mark II.
Everybody used to. I remember selling them
that was amazing.
in the bucket loads to schools, and I can just imagine it.
Yeah.
15, 14, 13-year-old lads with the ties wrapped round their heads in music on them going DJ, pressing the DJ button.
Think how many people have stopped music.
That's what he did.
They'd been sick. But there was also,
and then they did the box as well,
the Mark II B
with the CD on it that you scratched.
So
on it,
I don't remember seeing one of those. I saw the
I used
keyboard.
to sell loads of them. 99 quid. We got them on a deal. Tell you what, they were great.
Well, they were worth every penny. Yeah.
But they were, Mark and Lord did it on Radio 1.
They did
the original DGX, and then they did the DGX 2, which was black. And happy days.
Yeah,
we used to sell loads.
But what
of
a
them.
strange product. We've never seen anything since really like that, have we? But yeah.
But
anyway.
Saying that, at the time, in that kind of period, you'd got products like
EG 101,
EG 101, Electribes, Chaos Pad.
Yeah.
You got everyone was after DJ decks, Technics 1210s, massive renaissance.
Yeah.
The new mic mixer with the Chaos Pad in it.
Yeah.
There was that massive boom for that kind of easy access to doing trancey, dancey, techno-y music.
Yeah.
And it was so easy to do it in them days because it was so cheap.
Yeah.
It's even cheaper now, but then it was just unheard of.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting.
Good time.
It's taking you back.
I did tell you what.
He's in the zone. Yeah. So anyway, back to the MS-2000.
Seriously, check it out. That impression there is pretty. It's pretty good. Yeah. That was another one as well. One more time. That was another one.
Is this the one where you could make swear words out of when you played
no,
the keys
that was,
in a particular order?
That's an off-air one.
Is it okay?
I'll tell you how you do that later. That was an old Technics product, anyway.
Good stuff. Okay, so back to the MS-2000, and I'm just going to describe the hardware a little bit for those of you on audio only. So we've got 44 keys, so kind of strange number of keys really, but the same as the Monopoly, I think. 4-note polyphony. It's got pitch bend and a mod wheel on the left. Obviously full-size keys. It's bitimbral, which basically means you can play two different programs together, but you still, those 4 notes of polyphony is still shared over those two. You've got 128 programs or sounds if you like, and it has an LCD screen at the top there so you can see what's going on. So the structure of it synth-wise, it has 2 oscillators, and lots of different waveforms actually, so way beyond your kind of normal ones. You've got your sine wave, triangle, saw, square, but you also have human pulse and 64 WGS waveforms. So these are those digital waveforms we saw earlier from things like the DW8000 and synths like that. And then on the second oscillator you've got more basic waveforms, so you've just got a triangle, a saw and a square. So then as you follow the signal flow, you've got 2 envelope generators, 2 LFOs, 4 types of filter. So you've got 2 low passes, one 12 decibels per octave and one 24 dB per octave. And then you've got a high pass filter and a band pass filter, both 12 dB per octave. And then you've got an arpeggiator with 6 different types, and also a 16-step mod sequencer. So this lives on today, this kind of legacy in things like the Monolog, the Minilog, and products like that. So what that meant was you could basically record 3 rows of data, so control data, but it could also be pitch. So you could get some really nice evolving patterns, and when I play a few sounds for you in a bit, you'll hear that. And you could record it per step or in real time. It also had a virtual patching system, so instead of having the actual physical patch bay, you've got a little matrix here called virtual patching, so you could patch different parts of the synth to other parts to create interesting modulation as well. You had 2 effects blocks, so you had one was chorus, flanger, ensemble and phaser, and the other one had delays in it, different types of delays, plus a global 4-band EQ on top of that as well, and it had a vocoder. So we had a mic. So the original MS-2000 didn't actually come with a mic, it just came with a little slot on the back, but on the MS-2000B they actually added the mic on the top with the gooseneck mic.
Don't stop moving to the S Club B.
Yeah, exactly. So connections on the back, stereo jacks, stereo input jacks, which you could switch to a mic input, 2 pedal inputs assignable on switch, MIDI in, out and through, a headphone 1/4 inch jack on the front, which is quite good. It was also launched at the same time with a rack version, so it's exactly the same time as MS-2000R, which was a 19-inch 4U rack. But what was weird about this, when I was just looking at the pictures, it actually had the connections on the top.
That's right. Yeah.
So if you wanted to put it in a rack, you had to be at the top of the rack.
Yeah.
With nothing on the top. Otherwise, you
that's
couldn't.
where it deserved to be.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But strange choice though, design-wise.
Yeah.
But obviously a great instrument, as you'll hear in a minute. But it was identical pretty much otherwise. It's basically that middle panel of the MS-2000.
It's a great looking rack, that as well. Yeah,
it's great because you've still got all the real-time controls on it, just like you have on the keyboard. So it's great.
I remember seeing one racked up with a Triton rack at one point as well. And it's like, that looks so good.
Yeah, nice.
So good.
Yeah. So then in 2003, so 3 years later, we saw the MS-2000B. So that's this one. So the difference being it was black now. It had the gooseneck mic, as I said, included, and with a connection on the top panel. It had a brand new sound set and new demo songs, and there was also a rack version of this one as well.
Yeah.
So again, the same, minus the mic and also the keys. And the sound engine, the legacy of it, of course, still lives on today.
So
Do you know which product? microKAST.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's still there. So, do you want to have a listen?
I really do want to have a
to
listen.
some of the sounds.
Before we have a listen,
yeah,
what artists have you got down? Because I've got one that I don't know if you'll have.
Okay, I'll read out the artists.
I'm just trying to double check that I'm right before I say it. So you just.
I'll list off a few artists who used it back in the day. So we've got BT, Depeche Mode, Apollo 440, The Crystal Method, Placebo, The Faint, Röyksopp, Adrian Bellew, Saga, Rick Wakeman, Yes, Yesterdays, Keith Emerson, and Snoop Dogg.
So I've got Trent Reznor.
Okay.
He used to use one.
Right, yeah, fair enough. I've actually found this old magazine that KORG did.
This.
Andy's got it over there.
You seen that? Seen that?
Yeah, it's great.
So this is a picture of
when we
Apollo
used to do
440.
magazines back in the day.
Yeah, and it's got a demo CD on the front, and it's got Apollo 440.
Chemical Brothers on there as well.
Yeah, and an interview inside just saying how amazing the MS-2000 is. So I thought that was quite nice.
And this is in immaculate condition as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is amazing.
It used to be free. You used to get every dealer used to get a box full of them, and you used to give them out. And
great
stuff.
magazines. I've also got the manual here. And what's quite interesting about the manual is in the back it's got blank charts, just like they used to have in the old analog days.
That's cool.
Yeah,
to fill in your own settings.
That's cool. That's really good.
So yeah, I thought that was a nice little touch, kind of harking back to the original MSs.
Good old days.
Yeah. So
awesome.
So yeah, let's play it.
Yeah,
let's have a listen.
Do it.
So what I like about this is that obviously there's lots of hands-on control, but it's got that kind of older structure of sounds where you've got banks, and there's 16 sounds in a bank, and there's a lot of banks, but each number in the bank will always be the same type of sound.
Oh, so just like the microKAST again. That
Exactly, yeah. So sound number 1 in every bank is this kind of sound. So if I go up a bank, they're all like lead sounds basically.
Good sound.
It's called unisynth. Whereas if I go into a different bank, say different number, so number 2, they're all more kind of like motion sounds. So that's like a wave sequency sort of sound. And some of them are really of the time, but some of them really stand up well today. So these are like bass sounds. But where it really comes into its own, I think, the MS-2000 is when you use the mod sequencer, because what it does is sometimes it'll just play a sequence of notes, but sometimes it'll, a little bit like Karma does, it'll add loads of effects and stuff like that. So if I turn on the mod sequence now with this sound, So without that, it's quite a static kind of sound, really. Good sound still, but as soon as you turn that on,
there's some sub there that these headphones aren't doing justice. There are people driving at the moment going, "Oh, what's
you
happening
need
to my
lower
body?"
frequencies. Yeah. There's some lovely
Sounds
like
great.
pad sounds as well. Oh, arpeggiator type sounds like this. And you can hear
the Knight Rider effect it's doing on the
Silence.
or a Cylon.
yeah, the Cylon, yeah.
Such nerds. It's already created and used as it is.
I mean, if you're right in saying it was what 699, 79, it's a hell of a synth, isn't it, for that price.
We'll check that in the break
even
actually. but I
Even
think
in
that's true.
today's prices, I think. I mean, obviously now you get microphones different, but you know what I mean. Back then, that's a mega.
It's such a great looking board as well. Really.
There's so many great sounds in it as well. And some of them are just kind of what I call like bread and butter sounds, like you know, nice moogie kind of basses and leads. But then you've got really nice kind of soundscapey stuff like this as well. It's just really musical. The whole thing. It's great.
I was going to do a voiceover then. So
Well, go on then.
no, I'm not going to do it now. But it's very like
The DJX coming back.
No. Yeah. Yeah. So you're putting it in and it's advert. The KORG MS-2000B. One of them.
One keyboard. Many pads.
Analog modeling synthesis at its very best from KORG, as always. Take your sounds to the new millennium.
So yeah, it's a cracking synth, and I
It's
could
awesome.
spend hours getting lost in that. But yeah.
We really do need to use these to do some tracks. Now, while we've
Yes.
got them, we're in quite a privileged position to have
Yeah.
some of the stuff in. It's like,
Absolutely.
Thanks for that, Luke. So,
That's right. So that was the year 2000.
year 2000.
Ooh,
Now, we've done this before, but I know you've gone to the trouble of getting a jingle.
I've actually got the right one
So
this time.
it's
we
worth
might- you might as well
playing.
play it then.
Might as well play
the
it.
rare, actual, accurate jingle. Well
Yeah.
done.
The year 2000.
So, we have covered the year 2000 before. It was the year of the millennium bug.
Yeah.
And
It was,
all
yeah.
that travesty. So
Yeah,
so
no,
you
we don't
can
really
go
need
back
to-
to an earlier podcast with that one. So yeah, nothing else really. Big Brother, that's just finished
Yeah.
as well. Isn't it? That's,
It has just been announced,
just
yeah.
been
Oh,
announced.
Yeah.
what a disaster. People have to go out and look up for a while.
Just favourite programme of all time as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
I'm not going to lie, you know, it's a bit rubbish now, but the first series
It was amazing when
was
it came out.
incredible.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was
But-
so unique and
like
different from
Prison
everything
Break,
else.
really.
But they were
Stuff.
normal people. It was just like
Yeah.
normal
Yeah.
people plucked off the street and then just
It was
see how-
more of a social experiment.
Yeah, but now
at
it's
that
like,
stage, wasn't
who
it?
can we get because they'll fall out with that person because
Yeah.
that person likes this and that person doesn't like this, so they'll clash, and
Yeah.
it's just not the same.
bit
now.
more
They fill
manufactured.
the house with people that if I was in there, I'd just start looking for sharp objects very quickly, I think. And then you're on camera anyway, you can't get away with
Yeah,
it. No.
so good year. Year 2000, Pulp,
Yes.
Silverchair, what a band they were.
Wow.
Anyway,
wonderful, yeah.
so that's that.